morning tip.
Good afternoon. It is February 13th, 2019. You're listening to a Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by William Nelson, co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? Last night, Duke had their second biggest comeback in school history. Looked like it was defeat at Louisville. They had a blackout. Everybody was wearing black. The team was wearing black. It looked bad. They came back. Huge win. I was having a lot of fun. Got super sweaty. Got me thinking, what are your favorite sports comebacks?
Favorite sport comebacks? Oh, this is a great question. You know, I was so mad at you for talking about Duke and not writing it down. Like, we write down the topics where we kind of warn each other more or less what we could potentially bring up and what we're going to talk about here. And we didn't have Duke written down anywhere here, right? That wasn't brought to my attention anywhere. But I'll give you a pass because I got some good answers.
Last night.
I have two that come immediately off the top, and I'm sure there's some other ones. The first one that came off my top, which is probably going to shock you. I wonder where this came on your list. Do you have like a little list of your own already?
Nope. This is all off the top of my head.
All off the top? All right. The first one I have, this is going kind of way back when, and it's the fourth quarter Boston Celtics, New Jersey Nets.
Yep.
Comeback with Antoine Walker, Paul Pierce. What do we got? Like, I think Rodney Rogers is on that team. I don't know. Eric Williams, maybe Tony Battie.
I believe that's still the biggest fourth quarter playoff comeback, right?
I'm not sure. I really don't know. That sounds like it still might be, but a lot of records have been kind of broken with this high scoring playoffs of recent. Anyways, that one comes right off the bat as number one, and then number two, just as I was saying that, comes the 28-3 Super Bowl comeback for the New England Patriots. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other ones. There might even be better ones, but those are the two ones that stick with me personally that just come right off the top. Did I take the two you were going to mention, or you got something else?
Those two are definitely on my list. I think I have to throw last night's definitely in the mix somewhere. It's not quite the same where it wasn't a number one versus a number two or some sort of playoff matchup implication. It was just a regular season away game, but they were down 19 points with under 7 minutes to go.
Actually, you had it over the best part.
They had scored 36 points. They went on to score 35 points after that, which is just clearly whatever you're doing is not working. They put a press on, and some of it was just Louisville just melting down.
I felt like Louisville made the decision to lose that game.
There just wasn't, when you're watching these games, I think we've all been there, sports fans, of just, well, this isn't going well. Well, this is going worse, and then okay. All right, we just got to focus. If we can get to, I think we with basketball, it's always playing that game of, okay, if we got to get single digits by X amount of time, by the fourth quarter, we got to do that. And then we just never did it for a long time. It just stayed right around, the highest it was 23 points, and then it was 20, and then it was, they hit another three, it was back to 23. It was just kept oscillating there. And then finally they just started to put it together, and I was following along on Twitter, and it was people were coming out of the woodwork. You had the fake ESPN, with the celebration gif, and what makes everybody super happy is when Duke's losing. And then you even sent me a message of like, hey, is Duke gonna pull this out? I think when they got it maybe down to 14, and I was like, I can't get involved with this. I can't get started talking about it, but that was definitely fun. Trying to think of, there was definitely, it's still Duke related for right now. I'm having trouble thinking outside of that box, but it was a few years ago, different from this situation where they were down a lot, but more, there was not a lot of time left, and say you're down 6 with 30 seconds to go, knowing, hey, we got to foul, we got to hit some threes, we got to have some luck with turnovers or foul shooting, and Duke North Carolina is always a major matchup, and we were able to pull that one out. That one comes to mind. Super personal for me, since I like the Yankees. Just a regular season game, but they were down 3 or 4 runs going into the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, and then they just strung it together, and then Alex Rodriguez hit like a 3-run, might have been a grand slam, but I think it was just a 3-run homer that was like overkill at that point because we only needed like one more run or 2 more runs to win it, and being in the stadium for that was just super fun. You're walking out, everyone expected it was like, yep, you're down 3 with 2 outs. Yeah, we're not going to win this one. Oh well. And then when you do win, I remember walking around just high-fiving people, just random strangers, and that was fun to experience in person.
That's fun. Bringing up baseball, I know this wasn't like an individual game comeback, but the Red Sox comeback in the series, being down 0-3 and then going on to win the World Series, I want to say that one's going to stick with me. Another individual basketball one that's kind of come to mind is the Reggie Miller comeback at Madison Square Garden. That's I could watch that all the time. And then the T-Mac 13 points in what was like 30 seconds or something against the Spurs, which I could just talk about. I could talk about all these for days. It's actually probably unhealthy how easily I could talk about those 2 games alone. I mean, the T-Mac one, it's against the Spurs for one. So for me, the opponent of a comeback has so much to do with the comeback itself, as well as the stage that it's on. Now, those are the regular season games, but I think doing something against what was clearly a championship caliber team is awesome. Like the next one is just kind of funny because of the Spike Lee stuff, but the T-Mac one was against the Spurs that were a championship competitive team, and then the Patriots 28-3 was just.
I think the T-Mac one, it was all him.
It was all him.
It was a one-man comeback.
Yeah, I think that stands out as being more impressive. And then the Patriots Super Bowl comeback, it was the Super Bowl. This is the biggest game. You couldn't make a bigger comeback in a bigger game. That's as big as it gets. It doesn't get any bigger than that.
It just it's almost impossible to be down more points.
That I still I see the Barstool 28-3 T-shirts all the time, and it's just seeing it on the scoreboard. You would think it would make all of us just miserable, but it makes any Patriot fan smile so much from just seeing the numbers 28-3 on a scoreboard. If I saw it at a high school basketball game, it would still make me excited for unrelated reasons. It's just there's something awesome about that. But I do like the question. I was impressed with Duke. At the end of the day, it is a game that they should have won. They won it in a fashion that I think does deserve some credit. But I truly, truly blame Louisville for just not really knowing what to do. I think you got to blame some coaching there. There were a couple of times once they broke the press, they had no idea what to do. They were mostly like, oh, we need to kill as much clock as possible. So let's just pass the ball around and then try to get it, as much time off the clock as we can. I felt like the second they started doing that was the second that the game was over, because then they weren't scoring anymore. They would settle for long threes, and turnovers were happening left and right. You can't settle for long threes at the end of the shot clock. That's just not a good way to go about it. There was a couple times these guys had like potential layups, and then the guy would like pump fake and then pass it out to someone else in the corner, and then they would move it around again and then turn it over. Like, well, no, you got to shoot that. You got to go to the line. You got to keep playing basketball. You can't just be spotted like that and stop playing. Well, with that being said,
they looked absolutely terrified by the pressure.
With that being said, that was probably one of the more impressive full court presses you could ever put together. I mean, Zion he's a scary human being when he's motivated. I'll just leave it at that. He's just such a physical force that watching him play defense and watching him run full speed in passing lanes is it's just a scary thought.
Have you watched him much at all this year? I'm interested to hear your thoughts on how he's been playing this year and what your thoughts are on projecting him forward into the NBA.
The craziest thing with Zion is he doesn't fit this new era. I feel like there's a whole new era of drafting right now that has happened. This whole Steph Curry era has changed everything, where it was almost, I feel like in the past, it was draft the best athlete and teach them how to play basketball, versus now it's find a guy that already knows how to play basketball, and we got to figure out a way to make him healthy and athletic. And Zion feels like a very old school draft pick for me, which isn't the craziest thing. It just seems like a different path right now, and it almost seems like an nobody wants that anymore. I don't know if they want that anymore. Like he's such a freak athlete, but can he make a jump shot? Like, do you truly think he's going to develop a 3-point shot? I'm
I think
asking.
so.
You think so? You think he's got? I think he's got a chance. I mean, it's not the worst shot. I think his shot is already better than Ben Simmons, and he seemed to have found a niche. So I do think he will be a hell of a player. I'd find it very interesting that everybody's so high up on him versus in the past. I mean, the last guy that was kind of like just an athlete and was okay at basketball, but they thought, well, we pair these two together, maybe it'll become a little bit more. It was like Anthony Bennett, right? Who was the last guy like this?
Oh, you're bringing out Anthony Bennett?
Well, all right. Why was Anthony Bennett drafted?
doesn't-
Why was Anthony Bennett drafted? It wasn't for his shooting.
I think it's because the Cleveland Cavaliers panicked and they didn't know what to do. That was a weird. No one saw that coming. Everyone right now has seen Zion and is seeing Zion coming from like 100 miles away.
Yeah.
When that first pick happened, no one was expecting Anthony Bennett to get picked.
But I'm kind of in support of drafting Zion number 1 just because I don't think there's ever been anybody like that. And even if he turns out to just be a Julius Randle, I mean, Julius Randle's pretty good right now. I mean,
Yeah.
they were talking about like some of these Lakers that they traded away. They let Julius Randle go, who looks pretty good. I mean, he could help a team right now. I don't know if he's worth the money, but the guy can play. And the other guy they got rid of D'Angelo Russell, who's killing it in Brooklyn, he's just got his first All-Star appearance. The Lakers, I don't know if they kept the right guys right now. I mean, look at those 2 draft picks. I think they would be a lot better with them. They definitely would have some help. I think I don't know. I think that's not being talked about enough. I don't know. I don't know if Zion's gonna do it or if he's gonna be a complete bust because he's kind of an old school type of player. He's not a new school Curry. He's not a Trae Young. He's not a Doncic. I don't know where he fits in. I don't know who he is. I don't know where Giannis was going to fit in either, and that seemed to work out pretty good. So even if he turns out to just be, if he just turns out to be Julius Randle, I still think that's a win. I don't know if it's worth the number 1 pick, but it's something I'm willing to follow through and find out.
Yeah, I think you're correct where his shooting isn't where you'd like it to be, but just some of the other qualities that he has of you could see him on a fast break, and he's got an in-out dribble, an in and out dribble that he can break out. He can even once he gets into the air, he's able to adjust partly just because he's up there for so long. And there's just some other guys that you just kind of think like big guy that can dunk, but he's a big guy that's he can dunk from the foul line, like unreal athleticism. And sure, you can go with that won't last, and he's gonna have to figure stuff out. Well, maybe I'm not the GM. If this messes up down the line, like this isn't gonna hurt me. I don't think we should be thinking so negative. I think some people are already thinking about negatively, like, in 10 years that athleticism might fall off and he won't be any good. It's like, okay, in 10 years, who cares about in 10 years? How about next year? Next year, I think he's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. I'm having a lot of fun watching him this year, both with the offensive, just the dunks are just the easy, just tip of the iceberg. But the guy plays defense. There's a lot of these one and done top college guys that they don't put a ton of effort in on the defensive end. One, because they probably have to carry a large offensive load, which is difficult. But he really locks down as best that he can, even when he gets switched on to guards. And he's just a menace defending the paint because he can block almost any shot. Did you see the block he had in the Virginia game?
You know what? I've seen a lot of his blocks. Some of them I'm impressed with, and some of them, I don't know why guys are taking their time in the corner. Like, just because he's that far away. Haven't you seen what he's done before? They're assuming he's not going to get there. I got to blame the shooter on almost all of those corner blocks. It's a hell of a recovery, but those guys are assuming he's a normal human being and that they're going to have the time that they expect to have. You got to shoot that thing way, way faster. You got to shoot it as if he's 3 feet closer to you because he's coming. He's long jumping.
Yeah.
If
you didn't see it, all you need to do is just Google Zion against Virginia block. He gets rotated onto a guy in the corner, and the pass was low, but it's not like Zion was even close to him. When the guy catches the ball, Zion is in the paint. and he still gets out there to recover to not just tip the ball. I mean, he absolutely rejects it right, like way back into the stands. He is just way up in the air. I heard some people joking about, what's the long jump record? And he's not even trying to long jump on purpose, but he takes off from midway between the paint and the 3-point line and lands out of bounds. And he weighs, the program says 285. Maybe it's a little more, maybe it's a little less, but
it's the fact that it's
just
in
so
that
much mass
ballpark.
flying through the air.
Just the fact that it's in that ballpark alone makes it such a freakish. Like even if it's more or less, it's a large human being doing big things.
You were referring to Julius Randle earlier. Julius Randle weighs 250.
Yeah.
Add 30 pounds to that.
Yeah, I don't see. The thing is, all right. So, do you think Zion's going to stay in the same weight class here, or do you think there's going to be some development here? Do you think they're going to have to slim him down, or they're going to keep it that way? All right. You know what? Before we even get into all that, let's see. You're definitely saying he's a clear-cut number one. If he's available, you're taking him.
I think that you could definitely make an argument for RJ. You could make an argument for one or two other guys. It's always tricky when you're playing through the college season because it's like, oh no, Zion's the guy, but then combine stuff shows up, and then all of a sudden it kind of gets flipped on its head, and so I'm always just tentative this early on to just say nope, clear number one, no doubt for sure. It's like you never know what like the medical stuff comes out when for the combine and stuff.
I don't see. The thing is, I think RJ is definitely the safer bet, right? Like, can we agree on that RJ is a safer bet? But
I feel like I've seen what RJ does with other players. Of okay, a guy can create his own shot, can get to the hoop. His 3-pointer isn't great. His foul shooting is not great either. So he's got some concerns with his shot. But just like I've seen what that guy looks like before. I've never seen someone that looks like Zion do the stuff that Zion's doing. So, yeah, I agree with you that RJ would probably be the safer pick. And if you took Zion, you might have to do a little more, at least early on, of tailoring your team around him a little bit.
yeah.
But I think it's going to be – I don't think you can really go wrong. Both lefties. That always throws people off.
I think being a lefty is an advantage at this point. I think Harden's lefty step back is an advantage. And I don't care how much you practice or how much you put it in your head. I think there's something about just how you naturally play defense is you're so used to putting your hand up for a righty. I imagine that even the pros struggle with that. I know guys are lefties, and I know I need to get a different hand up there or I need to position my feet just a little bit differently. But there's something about going back to instincts when you're exhausted and the pressure's on, you're going full speed. I think there's still an advantage to being a lefty.
I agree because just 90%, probably even more than 90% of guys are righties, and it just throws you off a little bit.
Yeah,
just enough, and that's all it takes. It's just a little bit of space, a little half step. That's all it takes in basketball, especially at that high of a level.
Well, I'll make sure to upload the Zion video to the website, and with that, we were going to transition into a big announcement. Big things are happening. Big things here. We're doing things. We're doing things a little differently here in 2019. So we've changed up the website. We got a brand new website. It's lcalcb.com now. We no longer have the WordPress website. And on there, you'll be able to listen to all the old podcasts. Those podcasts are now going to be available on Spotify. We're officially on Spotify. You checked earlier, right? We were not flagged. We're on there.
We are officially on there, all the episodes.
We are now on Spotify. We will be on Google Play today. I'm waiting for the approval on that. It's already been submitted. And then we got the whole new website on there of which you can listen to it live. You can listen to the old ones. You can share them. You can download them. You don't need an account or anything to access anything on the website, which is great. On the website, you're also going to see all of my Sold by Will activity for all your San Diego real estate needs, a bunch of good articles, cool listings to look at, and there's an event calendar of San Diego things to do. So if you're thinking of visiting, there's lots of good stuff on there. Basically, we're going to be driving as much traffic to this website as humanly possible. With that being said, there's one other feature that's not activated right now, but it will be hopefully by next week, and that is our Amazon merch. So we will have Amazon t-shirts available. you will be able to get a podcast t-shirt onto there. We'll have those links all uploaded and keep you up to date on all of that. So big things are happening. The website is lcalcb.com and then soldbywill.com for all your San Diego real estate needs. And don't forget about Zach's Twitter, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
So if you like the website, go tweet Zach. Tell him you like it. Tell him what's going on. Tell him that Zion's overrated and that RJ should go number one and that Duke needs this all internal turmoil to blow it up this year to not make it happen. You know, just get at him. Tell him what you're
They're best
really
friends.
thinking.
You can't stop them.
They really, you know, I actually really do think they are best friends, and I don't think that's being talked about enough of how friendly they are. Is this not the new LeBron Dwayne Wade combination here? They seem buddy kind of like that.
I don't know if it's hard to condense a relationship like LeBron and Dwayne Wade had into, you know, it can only be a few years that they've even probably known each other, let alone been playing on the same team. But I seem to remember hearing in the past other teams and they'd say, oh, well, you know, these guys really like each other. And it's just a super cliche. But I've definitely seen teams, for example, a couple years ago, Jason Tatum and Luke Kennard were on the same team. I don't think that those guys really liked each other. Maybe it was more just like a basketball chemistry thing. Maybe like they were cool, but it seemed like there were times that Jason Tatum would intentionally look off Luke Kennard, where Luke was like a really good three-point shooter and would intentionally do what I would consider some stupid stuff. And it could just be, hey, he thought he had the advantage. But these guys, like we were even just just joking about like, oh no, RJ's got to go number one. These are both guys that could cost each other a lot of money, being 1 to 2 in the draft, and just I watched the behind the scenes documentary. It doesn't seem like it's an act. It seems like they're both really gunning for each other. So hopefully that continues.
I'm convinced
that's a real thing.
I'm convinced it's a real relationship. I actually do think they generally do like each other. I think they get along like fairly enough. I think they have it. Oddly enough, I don't think they're the best paired basketball chemistry-wise, but they seem to find ways to make it work, and I think they're aware of that, and they've gotten better every game this year, I think, at working that out. But I bring up the friendship only in the comparison to Dwayne Wade and LeBron is that, kind of in the prime of their career, LeBron made some decisions to play together. Do you think there's any chance these two play together? Because I think you have to be keeping an eye on this kind of stuff with the way the NBA and the rosters are just being demanding trades and controlling it all and the players' power. Do you think there's a chance these two ever play together, like professionally?
There's always a chance, whether the teams decide that or they decide that. As it looks, it seems that they're both on the track to be good players, and if you're good players, it can always be tricky to try to fit the pieces together, but they'd be on the same timeline. Like you said, I'm not sure that their basketball fit is necessarily the best, but sometimes just being good at basketball kind of smooths over more roles that you're looking for. Dwayne Wade and LeBron did play together, and it very much did not work. Obviously, much later on in Dwayne Wade's career, but it is getting I think it's getting a little messy, and I'm interested to see what the NBA does with so much player movement. I know they like the movement, because when the trade deadline's crazy, Twitter's crazy, all the possible moves, that's content. That's good for everybody. But if you have someone like Anthony Davis, top 5 NBA player, who not playing because he demanded a trade, it's not great. It's got a bad taste in my mouth.
Not good for him. Not good for the NBA. Not good for the Lakers. We kind of talked about this in the last podcast. I don't want to get into it all. I think we both, with the Lakers got played, right? I think we said that in the last week's. That's just what happened. And they have nothing. They have no one and nothing to blame other than themselves. They controlled this entire thing, and I feel like they set themselves up. They had so much confidence that this was going to get done that it really just blew up in their face. And I can't even imagine what that chemistry is like in that locker room. And there's already been players that have played with LeBron, whether they're still active players or not active players anymore, who've kind of talked about, well, these are the kind of things you got to deal with when LeBron's on your team. And he's so awesome on the court. But there's a lot more that always carries in. I mean, maybe he's the one that kind of killed Cleveland a couple of those years there with some of the roster changes he demanded. But I don't know. I think that this is a whole new era right now where player relationship is really, really important. And I almost feel like kind of like you got to recruit the high school kid to get him to come to your college. I think you got to recruit the rookie kids to come to your team when their contract is up now. Like it's a whole new second level kind of tier right now of recruiting and basically just straight up tampering. I think that's just the new strategy though. I think that's how you find guys that get along, guys that brands and chemistry on the court will be like a cohesive team, and that's how you build your team right now. I'm not saying that's what happened with Golden State. Golden State did it the old way, but if you want to compete with that old way, you got to do this stuff. You got to do the decision in Miami. I think it's interesting. Anyways, I don't know if it's going to happen like that. It may not be just as magical as a carpet ride as you want. But speaking of magical carpet ride, I saw the new Aladdin, the human action, live action Aladdin, starring. I don't even know who else is starring. Is it bad that I only know Will Smith is the name on here?
That's all I know.
That's all you know? All right. Well, I saw it. Have you seen the trailer?
No, I've just been seeing these pictures.
You've just seen the picture? Oh, the trailer. It's only like a 60-second. It's a short, like, minute trailer. But at the end, it is Will Smith painted all blue, doing his best genie impression. Are you excited for this movie? Are they going to get this right? I mean, what are your expectations for this? Do we need this? I kind of still like the cartoon. I think the cartoon's great. Do we need a live action?
This is one of those things that I'm not interested, but it's not really marketed, and I don't think they're making it for someone like me. I think this whole Disney cash grab, where they remake one of the classic Disney animated films, it's just got to be great for money because there's all this like nostalgia that's going on. But all I'm seeing is Will Smith painted up all blue. And all I can see is Tobias Funke from Arrested Development when he's dressed up in all blue because he thinks he might get a call for the Blue Man Group, so he's always got to be prepared. And it's just with the goatee and it's mostly the bald head and just all blue. I cannot shake that image, and I've seen a couple of spots where they put them side by side and everything. But is this something that you're excited for? Like, is this like, oh, when this comes out, I'm gonna go to the movie theater and see this?
I might see it. I really like the movie. I'll probably hold off to see how the reviews are first. I don't know if I'm that committed as a fan to just go see even if it's a movie I really like, if it ends up being bad, I don't still want to see it. But I do have interest. Aladdin is one of my favorite Disney movies, and I'd like to give Disney the benefit of the doubt that if they were to redo this, they could have redone this years ago. It didn't have to be done right now. That they would only do it right now because they're going to do it the right way. So I'm going to really hope that it's just a good classic Disney movie remake. How they're going to recreate everything, I don't know. It kind of seems a little too good to be true. Like, had this come out as a live action and then came out as a cartoon years later, the cartoon would have been better because I think you're just able to manipulate this fantasy so much better. But I'll give it a shot. I don't know. It's coming out this summer. Was it 2019, June, July, something like that?
Oh,
you're out.
No,
you're really out.
Me,
All right.
I
think Will Smith will make a good genie, though. I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to. You can't categorize or put Robin Williams in a box of anything to really define his humor, his acting, his character transition. There's nothing like it. So I don't know if I'd want to be the guy to follow that up, and I'm kind of curious to see how Will Smith will follow that up and what this will be. I don't know if it'll be a completely different direction or if he's going to do his best to kind of imitate those, I don't even know, maniac characters of inside Robin Williams' mind. I don't think they even knew what they were getting when he was doing the voiceover. I'm sure there's hours of uncut stuff of Robin Williams just going off the deep end of whatever he's coming out is coming out. And they found the good stuff for the movie. So I'd be excited for that. Do you think Will Smith was a good choice, though? I can't think of a better choice.
I mean, I still think of Will Smith as more of a. I guess you got Fresh Prince, so I mean, he's a comedian. He can be a funny guy, but I still think of him more as, like the action hero Will Smith. So, I could see Will Smith playing playing the main character as much as I could see him playing the genie.
I think one thing that they get when they have Will Smith there is they get somebody who used to rap and was actually a pretty good rapper. Because I imagine the dialogue is going to be all quick, witty, and just all back and forth like that. And if it's not, I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know if it'll really be the genie then. But I think Will Smith's going to have that kind of in his back pocket where he's going to be able to speak very fast and go back and forth to different kind of tempos with basically with a rapping skill set. Would you rather just have David Cross do it then? Because he may not be the worst decision either. I actually think he'd be pretty good.
I think the more David Cross going around the better. They look like twins, man. I'm telling you.
They don't look like twins.
They look like twins. They're all
man.
blue, and I'm telling you.
I don't know how you
go look it up.
Look, I don't know how you found your way there. All right, your map is wrong. You need a new map.
You're gonna see it, and you're not gonna be able to. You're gonna watch the movie the whole time, and you're just gonna be.
I'm not gonna be able to unsee it.
Quotes.
I'm not gonna be able to unsee it once I see it. Like that's it.
Yes.
Oh man, I don't know. Well, I don't know how you got there, but speaking of how you got there, I got actually kind of a cool little topic here. It's a Google Map update, and it's for using Google Maps around the city, and specifically around big buildings where you may or may not have as good a service. And if your service is really bad, they've added a new VR kind of sequence where you can scan the buildings around you, and it'll be able to tell you which direction to go if you don't have as good a service. I think that's awesome. I'm kind of excited about all that. And it's for walking around the city. It'll be the Google Maps VR option. I think you should be able to find it on any of the Google Map apps. But I think this is cool. I've had this problem before. Have you not had this problem? When you're urban hiking
definitely.
out there? Yeah, that's a thing, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely doing usually not too much checking of that in urban hiking, but definitely when in the city trying to get somewhere. And if there's not necessarily you're in a city with a nice grid system, you do get stuck in those buildings, and you're walking in a direction, and the GPS gets tricked, and you kind of do that. You know, you walk one direction, you make a U-turn, and then you're going the other way, and you make another U-turn. You look like you assume everybody sees you and thinks that you're out of your mind because you've just made 2 U-turns. But you know, you're just like, I'm just trying to get my phone to figure out where I am, and it's not always super conducive to walking around. So anything that could help out with that, I think is a plus.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool on like the demo. I don't know how well it works, but you bring out your phone and you kind of just panoramic slow pan, just back and forth to let your phone know where it goes. I assume it's only good at identifying like major buildings, so you got to be near, something. You can't just do it like next to this mailbox and it'll know, what that is. It's only going to be able to recognize certain stuff. But I think that's pretty cool.
That seems fair, though.
I think that's smart. I think this is something that would be really helpful for a lot of people, especially if you're visiting the city. That's when you're really most reliant on all of this. Where I kind of go wrong with not even this is probably more used for the walking app of getting from one place to another by foot. But where they always get me is, especially in Boston, and I think it's specifically going to the airport, is you go through a tunnel and then you lose all your cell phone service in the tunnel, and the tunnel will have exits. Yep. I don't know whose idea that was to think that tunnels needed exits, not just one point to another. It's like I may have to get off at like 3 different points here, and I don't know which one because now I don't have any service. I don't know how.
Speaking of this different from what you're exactly talking about, because it sounds more for pedestrians. But I saw that in some cities, Waze has partnered with the cities to help out with that situation and create connectivity in the tunnels to be able to help you to, you don't just get into the tunnel and it just goes, you have you've lost connection. But yeah, in select tunnels, and they're trying to make it more and more in all the tunnels. So the exact situation that you're describing is no longer an issue.
That's awesome, and this is why we do the podcast. We do it for the people. That's all we're doing.
Just trying to help out. Just trying to let you know about the cool things that are going on all around you.
Just trying to save you some time so that you can get on to doing what you really want to be doing and not looking at a map. Anyways, that's really cool. I didn't know they do that. I love that Waze is kind of always looking for new things, and I like that Google Gate came up with this too. I do feel like they're competitors, but I don't feel I don't have judgment against either of those. Do you? Like I don't be like, oh, you're a Waze
Oh,
user. I'm a Google guy.
Google bought Waze a few years ago.
Did they? So they are. They're still two separate apps though.
Yeah, the whole idea. Google, like the way Waze has kind of their own community, and it's got the little cloud smiley face guys as your avatar, and just thought that they could have just brought the Waze into the whole Google Maps, but decided that people like that community, and so Google will use the Waze information for accidents and such, but let them keep their own thing, which I think was cool.
Very, very cool. Didn't know that. Well, now you know. You didn't know, now you know. I don't know where we're going to go from here now. You got anything else to add about the maps here? Any more navigation tips? Any more?
No.
Any more info?
No, that's all I got. Just that nice little nugget about the tunnels.
Well, speaking of kind of keeping your own fan base, let's talk a little AAF. What is that? American Football Alliance of American Football? Is that right? Right?
Yeah, Alliance of American Football.
Alliance of American Football. This is not a Canadian league because it's got an American in it. What is the deal with this? Is this some knockoff on the Canadian game here?
No, it's a knockoff on the American game.
Oh,
it's right. It's all in America. They have 8 teams right now. This league kicked off last weekend. So a week after the Super Bowl, trying to really prey on those people that just weren't ready to say goodbye to football for the winter. Had no interest in switching over to basketball full time. So they had 4 games. They had a couple games on Saturday and a couple games on Sunday. There is a San Diego team.
Oh, all right. Let me hear more.
So they don't have kickoffs. They're a little more violent than what we've come to expect from the NFL. So it's all very, very new. I'll be upfront that I did not watch any of these games. I'm very happy to be watching NBA and college basketball right now, and I'm fine with, my team just won the Super Bowl, although I did jokingly text you on Sunday, who do the Pats have today?
So they're in season right now, though, in the AAF, right? That's happening right now?
Yep, they just kicked off last week. It's a 10-week season.
So if you want your football fix, this is your only option right now.
Yes. Yep, pretty much. Yeah, so they got San Diego has the San Diego Fleet. You got other teams like the Memphis Express. They're kind of in they're in all sorts of kind of cities. They're in San Diego. San Diego used to have a football team. They're in Atlanta. Atlanta has a football team right now, or like I said, they're in Memphis, or Memphis doesn't exactly have a football team right now.
You got anything in your neck of the woods?
Nothing in the Northeast. The closest for me would be Tennessee.
Tennessee, damn. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and this is the first year they're doing this?
But, yep. This is the first year.
Okay.
They got for example, Mike Singletary is one of the head coaches.
Nice.
If you were to kind of watch the games, you definitely pick up on some of the players and just, okay, yeah, that name's familiar. Obviously, this is not the NFL. The NFL struggles to get good good players. So definitely some sloppy line play. The quarterback play isn't the best, but I'm sure these teams are still trying to figure it out. But you might be looking at a subpar football experience. But one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up is they like I said, they don't have any kickoffs. They have a referee that's part of the team that sits up in the booth. And if he sees something that the refs on the field miss, he can immediately, they're all communicated in, and can him or her up in the booth can immediately make a ruling the same way an official on the field would. And I think that there's this league, and there's going to be the XFL is going to be making an appearance, and I believe there's 1 or 2 other of these new leagues that are going to be popping up. And I think what could be helpful is, if these leagues try something that's pretty cool and that works, it could be implemented into the NFL.
Well, let's hope so. I don't know if Roger Goodell is that open-minded. He's not my favorite person in the world, or even my. I mean, I don't know anything about the AFL, and if they have a commissioner, I already like him more than Roger Goodell, just because he can never be liked more than anyone else. He's going to the bottom of the list.
No. The AAF. They're really
AAF.
pushing that they're the alliance. Where the NFL is the National Football League. They're really pushing. They're not the league. They're the alliance. And it kind of feels, like, hey, we're all on the same team. We're the alliance.
And then the XFL was what? Extreme Football League?
Extreme Football League.
Well, I don't know. I like that it's this time of year and that can give it a chance. I like that it's a shorter season. You said it was only 10 weeks. I like the review thing too. I think they're doing a lot of good stuff with what they got. I don't know if I don't think I'd want to challenge the NFL, but I may want to try to continue off of their bandwagon in times when they're really not doing much. I mean, I don't. I'm sick of all this off-season talk. We can. I would love to. Actually, no, I wouldn't love to. I don't want to talk about Kareem Hunt at all. I don't even want to bring it up. I can't. I don't even know where to begin with that. It's confusing to me at this point of what NFL owners value and what they don't, and who's willing to take chances and not, and then who has a problem with what. It just seems such like a political mess at this point. But I'm kind of excited to have some football in the summer if I want it, even if it is a little amateur. Maybe I'll watch the Alliance. I think watching it here in San Diego is the real sell point. If tickets are affordable, it's there's no more Chargers here, so maybe that'll be the next best thing. I would like to go see Mike Singletary. I mean, I thought he was a great coach. I thought he did some really good things for the Niners, and I know he was a hell of a player. I mean, he's a football legend. So maybe even just seeing him in person would be pretty cool. But cool idea. Do you think there's any chance that they would ever partner up with the XFL? I know it sounds like those are very two ends of the spectrum right there, but maybe that's what you need. Is these guys seem like they're kind of listening to all the problems of the average consumer and trying to answer them as much as possible, especially with that refereeing decision to have a guy up top being able to control whatever he wants to off all that. The XFL, much like this, being a little bit more violent, it sells. It's a show. It sounds like that's what the XFL wants to be. Is it wants to be entertaining, it wants to get your attention, it wants to be very Hollywood and kind of over the top. Maybe that's a combination that's a terrible combination. Maybe that's a bad mix. Maybe that's a good mix. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there that's kind of how the NBA got there. There was two leagues that combined to eventually come to what it is right now. Any chance you think that happens, or am I thinking way too far down?
I don't think that happens because the AAF does have some loose ties to the NFL, I believe.
Oh yeah, that's no way.
I think it might be more looking to be it might be in the infant stages of becoming more of a minor league team for the NFL, where at least from what I've heard and read is that the XFL is looking to more directly compete with the NFL, and they're not exactly playing nice. But I did look up real quick, and Sunday at 5 o'clock at SDCCU Stadium, formerly Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. You can get in there, lower bowl, pretty much right like as close as you can get, $20.
Oh, we're doing this. I'm totally getting the guys together. We're going to one of these games. It's at Qualcomm too. Oh man, Qualcomm. The Qualcomm was such a mess the last time I was there. I went there. I told you. I think I told the podcast this. I went there with my dad and another friend for a concert. It's probably about a year ago, and this is before the Chargers moved. So, the Chargers had already moved, so this is pretty much an abandoned just stadium at this point. They had to hire volunteer vendors because they have nobody works for them anymore because there's nothing there. So everyone's just like says volunteer on all their stuff, and I just wondered like halfway through the game if those guys just wandered off, being like, "Well, I made it in now. I worked for like a quarter, and now I'm gone."
Yeah, I'm good.
I wonder if that's how this is going to be this time. But the one thing I'll say with that is, the staff they're basically like one of you. Like they're like, "Hey man, what do you want?" Like, I won't say they bent the rules for us, but they definitely felt more like they would than a full-time regular stadium would. Maybe you can get things a little bit more to your advantage, which is good. It is an old stadium. It's really weird to not see any advertising in there, though. Like, I'm talking none. It was bare walls, bare everything. It's just a strange feeling being in such an unbranded area. Speaking of weird and borderline creepy, what do you got with these Coke napkins? I don't know how we're going to transition into all this. What is this?
So on some flights, what Diet Coke wanted to do was they had these napkins that said something kind of along the lines of like, "Hey, you never know," and then a line for your phone number.
Oh yeah.
So I think the idea was trying to find love up in the air, and yeah, people were not a fan. as I put it, as creepy napkins.
That seems like a strange thing to influence on a plane. I mean, the one thing. All right, so the two things gonna happen with this is you either get lucky or you don't. It's a yes or no option kind of here. The problem with the no option is you're still gonna be stuck with this person for however long your flight is, which at minimum is an hour. An hour trapped with somebody that clearly you didn't hit it off with can be a really long time. Especially, you imagine this is a cross country flight and you struck out and now you're stuck with this person for like 5.5, 6 hours.
Yeah, it's a real bold move right from the very beginning.
It is bold. I'm shocked. Didn't the airline have to approve this? The airlines were cool with that?
It was Delta, and yeah, the official line was on one side it had, "Because you're on a plane full of interesting people, and hey, you never know," and then the other side it had a name, and then it had a phone number.
Didn't we talk about like a airline Tinder that existed? I feel like a couple years ago that was
sound.
No.
It sounds like something we would talk about on the podcast, but I cannot remember the particulars.
I can't remember it either. This was a thing though. We definitely had some sort of topic about airline travel, or maybe it was you could tell people you were going somewhere, and then this is how the app would tell you, like, hey, I'll be in like this area at these times. I can't remember. There was something like that. I don't know if these are the. There's a lot of things that have changed in airlines to kind of make you a little bit more comfortable. I think shifting from TVs being behind the headrest to now giving people tablets. I don't know if that was a good move or a bad move, but it's changed. This, I don't know, makes me more uncomfortable on the plane than comfortable. Out of all the things they could have changed and added. This is very weird. Well, anyways, I'll make sure to upload. I'm assuming they have pictures of the actual napkins, right, on the sites.
Oh yeah, they're they're all over the place. It just seems like just a swing and a miss. It's probably, hey, it's close to Valentine's Day, and it's just like, hey, you probably want to end up with somebody, and just like the execution just isn't quite there, and just unfortunately. It's just uncomfortable for everybody. Where I think they meant well. I didn't think they meant for it to come off super creepy and like, oh great, now I have napkins with the unsolicited phone numbers on it. But yeah, I think the idea was a little more genuine. But
man,
thanks.
Well,
internet took care of that one.
Well, I will make sure to share that with the website, which is now lcalcb.com. Go check that out for all your podcast information. Check out Sold by Will for all your San Diego real estate needs, and definitely reach out to Zach on his Twitter, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
All right, bit of a slower podcast, but we got a couple last little second topics here. We got about 10 minutes left in the pod. Definitely want to thank everybody for always listening. I definitely want to keep everyone up to date with our future T-shirt ventures. So if you want to support the pod and show your support to other people, make sure you go check those out. I'm hoping about next week. My test shirt is coming in today, so I'm very excited to see how that came out. So we've already been approved by the merchant. I just wanted to see how the logo and the size and all that kind of fit on the shirt. So if it fits right, I should be able to turn the thing on, and they'll be for sale as soon as later today. If not, I'll have to resubmit the design and change the size, and hopefully, I'm hoping to have a little site up by next week. But I'm excited about that. You excited for some T-shirts?
Yes, I am.
Excited to start the brand?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Get our name out there.
I'm excited for it. So it's going to be a big year in 2019 for Little of Column A, Little of Column B, hosted by Willie Minos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. All right. So with that being said, I got a last second little topic here with Bill Walton and some cupcake and a candle. Where are we going with all this? I'm in on all Bill Walton stuff. He's a San Diego native, so let's hear the wonderful adventure of Bill Walton and a cupcake.
So I would think that most people are aware that Bill Walton is like an odd guy. Might be putting it a little.
He puts the
that
color.
might not be enough.
He puts the color in color commentator. I'll tell you that. My God,
Yeah.
he has a way with words and just a tangent mind. It is.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
just-
It's.
You have no idea.
I have no idea where he's going anytime.
You
I'm
have
shocked that
no
ESPN.
idea where he's gonna go.
I'm shocked ESPN and so many platforms have okayed the wildness of it all. It's a very uncontrolled, just broadcast.
Well, I think that part of the reason is because he does the Pac-12 games, and those are on the West Coast. So most of us on the East Coast are asleep, and the Pac-12 is horrible this year. So very few people are listening, and there probably might have been more people that are listening in specifically because it's Bill Walton. But there was I think this was pregame or it was some sort of halftime break in the action, and so it's just that camera angle of the announcers, and it was somebody's birthday, and he's kind of singing happy birthday, and they both have a candle, with a little cupcake, and then the play-by-play guy, very offhanded and truly in a joking manner, goes, "Why don't you take a big bite of that with the candle, still lit?" And sure enough, holds it, and then right at the top, candle into the mouth, and just takes a big bite off the top. Just wild.
Wait. So he ate the candle too? Then
I don't know why he did it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just only Bill Walton.
Wait, was the candle consumed in this bite as well, though? Like, did he eat some of the candle in it too, or he just bit out of a lit candle, kind of?
He definitely got the frosting. He got the cupcake, but he probably got a little bit of the cupcake. All right, you got some of the candle.
Oh man, I love Bill Walton. Bill Walton he's endlessly entertaining. The thing is, I don't ever want him calling an important game or a game that I actually want to hear. It would drive me nuts. It's too unrelated. It's too spontaneous. It's too. The thing is, Bill Walton, he's like listening to a broadcast about a game. The next thing you know, you're talking about like car washing, and it's like when did we get on this? And he just finds ways. I don't know what it would be like to work with him. It would be just
probably awful, but also amazing.
I would love to work with him if that's an option. I think he would have a great time with this podcast. I don't know if I could be the proper host for him. We may have to let him host on that day because he kind of does what he wants. So the more freedom you give him, I think the better. I almost want him to be.
From what I've heard with him on other shows and other podcasts is where normally you as the host, you ask me questions and I respond, and then I maybe ask you something or it just kind of goes. Pretty much, it's almost just like they ask him one question, like, "Hey, Bill, how's it going?" And then he just talks for the next hour until he just kind of gets to like, "So do you think we got it? Do you think that was enough?" It's like, sure thing. Whenever you're done, we're set. I haven't spoken 55 minutes.
Oh man, it's really funny that he's made such a personality. Like he separated himself from a whole lot of other people, purely on his personality, but he was also like an incredible basketball player. I think that's actually gone forgotten.
National champion.
It's gone forgotten of him being not only an all-time Celtic, but an all-time Portland Blazer, and then obviously having some credentials on things outside of just the NBA. But he's kind of almost shot himself in the foot. Although maybe he's more famous. Maybe he's famous for the better now for his color commentary. I don't know. Would you rather be an NBA legend and just an overall basketball icon, or would you rather be just the announcer that goes off on tangents as Bill Walton?
Why not be both? He won 2 high school championships, 2 NCAA championships, and 2 NBA championships.
I mean, that sounds like the definition of winning, and he seems like a pretty happy guy. I think that's one thing that's underrated and all is he's so cheery all the time. Have you seen Bill Walton upset? Like, have you seen him mad? Like on a
Well,
broadcast.
I hate to burst your bubble on this, but actually something recently just came out where he talked a bunch about his depression.
Oh well, he fooled me.
Yeah, because don't forget. I hate to do it like to just throw that on you because I can see where you're coming from because he always seems super happy, but don't forget he had some real bad problems with his feet as well as his back and just kind of going through that pain all the time. Said he had some trouble. Yeah, that. Oh no, apparently that came out a couple years ago, but I definitely remember that just got brought up recently. Maybe he talked about it again recently in an interview.
Well, I hope he turns it around because it makes me happy, and I know that sounds selfish to say, but that's really what it is for the job there. I don't know if it's quite as self-fulfilling as it is for making happiness for others. I mean, that's why we do the podcast here. Do you think we enjoy this? This is labor, right? I mean, we got interns working for us, and they don't even get paid. We've been promising payment for like 3 years now, and finally we're getting some merchandise off the shelves here. They're probably still not going to get anything, but we'll see. Maybe next year.
Maybe
Maybe
maybe next year.
it's a 5-year plan. It's like promising Conan.
Don't want to get him too excited.
It's like promising Conan the Tonight Show. In 5 years, I'll step down and you can step up, and then we'll pay you.
Yeah. Don't want to over promise and under deliver.
Oh man. Well, I don't really have a whole lot else to talk about today. Is there anything else you wanna talk about? We got about 3 minutes for the music starts going.
Just perfect. Yeah, I just got one small thing. Isaiah Thomas is making his season debut tonight for the Denver Nuggets, going against the team that drafted him, the Sacramento Kings. He hasn't played since March of last year, so he's almost been out a whole year. Still been struggling with that hip injury that he got playing for the Celtics, and I know that the Nuggets got a lot of guys, and I just hope that he is able to carve himself out a nice little spot, put up some stats so he can get paid and continue to play basketball because he's really good. He's a really good guy. I enjoyed his time with the Celtics. I just wanted to give him a little shout out. I'm sure he doesn't need it from me, but happy to see that he's going to be playing basketball again.
No, show him some love. All right, this guy needs some love. I am praying that this guy has finally found a home. The hard thing is Denver's a really good team right now, and I don't know. Like, even if he's back, like say he wasn't healthy last year. I'm throwing out last year. That's not the Isaiah Thomas I've seen. I know, and I know what he's capable of. That wasn't him. If he's completely healthy, it's gonna be hard for him to even completely healthy play over other guys, because they got a lot of talent on that Denver team. So it'll be interesting to see if he finds a home. I wish him nothing but the best, though. I want this guy to get some money. I want him to get a home. He was done wrong, and it's kind of no other way around to say it. But business is business, and that's why you make the decisions you make. But really, really cool. I'll definitely tune in. Is that gonna be a national game tonight, or is that just is that an ESPN or a TNT game?
I believe that's it's not I don't think that's a national game.
Not a national game. All right. Well, if you're into the Denver area, or if they're playing your opponent's area, definitely check out to see IT. I'll definitely be looking for those highlights tomorrow morning. But thank you as always for listening. We are the Little Column A, Little Column B podcast. Definitely check out the website lcalcb.com. We'll be back next week. We also record live on that website Wednesdays, 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Check us out on there. You can write some comments. Message Zach at his Twitter, which is
WickedZman24.
And we'll be back next week.
Little column A, little column B.